Hey guys, good morning. Good to see you, Yannick.
Hi, Yannick. Hi, Roland.
Hi, Dinesh.
Hello. I
How's
like
it
your garden.
going? This is a virtual background, bro. Does it look real?
It does look real, and it looks like you're getting a lot of
Okay.
fresh air. You're breathing in some oxygen in your room. It's all good,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, might as well get oxygen even if it's virtual. Get the
So
extra
true.
oxygen.
I'm sure they will have to create some kind of system that will have pure oxygen at home, because that's like
Yeah.
a big thing now.
Oh,
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
morning, Valdor. How you going? That's all I can say is Valdor.
Hey, good morning.
Participants. Okay.
Good morning.
Morning. Oh, there we go. Hi, Roland.
Hey. Good eye.
Hi, Yannick. Good to see you. Long time no see.
Hi, Misha. So we'll spend next week together.
Yes, looking forward.
An entire week of fun
Yes,
with the European School of Mission.
yes, I
Never
love
stops.
it. I love it.
Yes.
So, Yannick, I invited two of my trainers for the 9:30 session
Sure.
as well as the 10:30 session.
Great. Excellent.
Yeah, okay. All right. That was good. Thank you. Yannick, can you hear me?
Very well. Loud and clear.
You said loud and clear. Great.
So we probably should mute unless we are speaking.
All right, let's start in five. Go ahead. Let's start in 5 minutes. We'll start the meeting in 5 minutes.
Do you see, Dinesh, how Valdir is good for my personal patience training? A little exercise every day.
Yeah.
We were just talking about patience training.
Yeah.
Yeah, That's an ongoing training for rest of our life.
So Valder, can you hear us or? I don't know
I
if you
didn't
can
answer.
hear us. Apparently
totally-
they've shut us down. I think there is the host who hears us, is monitoring, and it will be reported.
Yeah. Call.
If we could grab seats, if you're one of the program directors, either a trainer or an academic director, feel free, there's a place for you at the table. I hate to say this, but everybody else, there's a very comfortable seat in a ballroom, slightly back from the table. That's all I'm saying. Then you're going to be sitting in on a conference call that is the academic director's discussion about the development of the schools. And Valder's going to be leading that call. We want to allow the academic directors to be the primary participants in this, but we are going to be able to listen into the brilliance, the intellectual brilliance that is the academic directors of the LATAM School of Medicine. Okay, so that's. But let's begin with a prayer if we could, and then when we open our eyes, Valder will be high and lifted up. So let's pray. Father in heaven, we're trying new things, and we're really praying that you guide us, and we're excited about the growing partnerships, both with amongst the schools as well as with the mission societies. And we do pray that you'll bless our time today, guide us into what you want us to do. Help us think of the things that are important.
Amen.
Help us keep our comments concise. Thank you, all of the people who are here, and the joy it was to be on the boat last night. Thanks for just this last few hours together. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Douglas. It's good to be together. Good morning. Thank you for getting up early to be here for this session. I have Joseph give us a quick update who is online, unless the crowd is by now so big that we can't go through it.
Yeah, I can do that. And apologies for mispronouncing names. We have Yannick obviously joining us, and Roland and Misha and Danny Brook from Munich, Dan Demshar, Mike Fontenot, Dina Philip, Dinesh and Caroline George, Raj Chandra, Christy and Lucia, I don't have a last name for them. Sam and Michelle Cameron, Babamisi Adedayo from Lagos, Linda Obuole, Babamisi Esther, and Shaijas Philip.
Awesome. So this is again a hybrid meeting, a little bit like yesterday. Not all of you made the after lunch meeting or the lunch session, but the focus of this meeting are the academic directors, right? This is our working session, and we have a little bit more than an hour. I'll show you the agenda in a moment, but I really want this to be this is our meeting, this is your meeting, this is not my meeting. I'll guide it and all of that, but we really would like to focus in this hour on the academic directors and on the work that we do in the schools of missions. Anybody feel free to chime in, anybody feel free, this is right. We are all building this together, but the focus of the session, of this first session, is on the academic side. I don't know how much you all were able to participate, but however, whatever you experience is going to be a big part of what we discuss. So from an agenda point of view, I really want to spend as much time as possible on getting feedback. If we do nothing else in this meeting, but really talk a little bit about what you heard, what you saw, questions that you have, clarification questions, any suggestions. And again, we'll have other sessions today where we will do some of this, but from an academic director's point of view, that would be great. On the feedback side, the topic of church building teachers, I carve out as a specific discussion. So we'll do that as a second point, right? So, and again, those of you who heard the Friday night sessions, hopefully all of you, that's a big piece of the discussion. Then the third piece is probably where we have the least consistency in terms of having been there. The schedule yesterday, we probably didn't anticipate the transition being as complicated as it probably was coming from the church service to the meeting. So we had probably, I don't know, half of the people there, which is fine. But I want to at least touch base on the metrics as they relate to the academic side. If time permits, we are probably now getting into the range of, let's see if we can get there. Love to talk about the curriculum development and pick that discussion up from our last meeting, and then just a few minutes on next steps. Is there anything that we should talk about that is missing? We okay? So feedback, the feedback is really broad. I'm really asking for broad feedback. Any questions where is it, well, you guys said that didn't, what did you mean, right? Any questions, any suggestions for both, actually, for content and the forum itself. And again, we'll have some more time for that. I'm mostly concerned about content when it comes to the academic side, but don't feel stifled by that. Just any type of conclusions where you say, you know, I walked away from this meeting and my conclusion, it's really relevant for us to hear, right? You have your local situation that is for sure different from my local situation, and it's really important for us to understand. So how does it work for you, and what are you in your school of missions wrestling with? And then, you know, if you have action items, if you can walk away with things where we say, let's do this, any ideas? So get your juices flowing. I'll remind you as we discuss it about the topic. So I'll guide the discussion, but there's a little bit of feedback now that wasn't there before.
Somebody turn on a laptop.
Yeah.
It's Chris Ogbanaya.
If you can mute, you probably want to mute your laptops. Okay, it's gone.
We found the criminal.
If
The
you
gold
just
was under the tent.
if you changed something just in the last second, it was you. So, you know, the feedback, we started Friday night with the vision, the dreaming piece. You know, you heard Doug's lesson. Any feedback on that? I'll just run through it and then we'll do the discussion. We had on Saturday morning the Code of Three Strands, the discussion about relationships between the School of Missions and the Mission Society, right? That's all right. Go to that session. In the afternoon, the discussion about the partnerships, the chance of a lifetime, the Global Connect class, the application, okay? So let's just spend some time on this. I need a notes taker. I think would be great. Actually, we are recording this. Yannick, we are recording it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, all right. No note taking. So let's just let's take some time here to brainstorm. Any questions, any feedback, anything you took away, anything, right? And you feel anything work. This is not good news sharing. This is really you can be positive, but it's really okay. Give us some feedback. Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks very much for putting this on. It's kind of after a couple years off, it's a reminder of why you do conferences. You know,
Amen.
a lot of it is just starting to think fresh thoughts. And I feel like it's probably true for us and Nessa. Maybe it's all my fault, not you guys, of course. But we've kind of been on maintenance, you know, that, I mean, we got who we've got and everybody kind of knows what they're doing and we've been doing it for a while. And so there we go. But this has, you know, been, I don't recall having an institutional conversation between NESM and EMS and saying, are you getting what you need? And are students getting the support they need? And that kind of conversation. So I think that's a big thing. I think it's a lot of vision there. I think it's also with Global Connect, it's awesome, but it's disruptive, right? I mean, I think it's meeting a need. It's probably meeting a need that the students didn't know they had. It probably is sort of relationship and connection, and probably going to fuel a hunger for building it. But it would be helpful, I think, to have a sense of, so what's next? Like finding out in July and August what we're teaching in Global Connect in September is kind of good, but if it was March or April, it'd be even better. And this would be a great time to hear what's going to happen in January.
Well said. Well said.
You are getting really negative now, Mike.
That was worded positively.
No. Well said.
We had how repeating, if we picture, you know, what we've got going on kind of in repeating, if we have a more developed vision of Global Connect or kind of what's going to be coming out.
That rings true. Any comments to what Mike said? That rings true. A calendar that looks ahead more than we do. That is totally true.
I mean, for us, and that's why we got so much on the shelf. We
Yeah.
kind of pull down to other
Yeah.
things, but it's arguably true that in a more developing situation,
Yeah.
that it's not as easy to adjust
Yeah.
to what Global Connect has coming along.
Yeah, and Global Connect was a successful experiment, but it began as an experiment,
Yeah,
right? It
right.
was an experiment, and so we are now, but is there a general sense of Global Connect is something we want to do? I mean, I don't want to, John,
Well, then we obviously we weren't part of the experimental phase. We just came in almost thinking it's already established. But it was incredible. For young men and women to have access to older leaders, the set by the spirit, the history, I think all of that, the idea of global connection is amazing. I do agree that part of the conversation now with everybody around the table would be, what do we do with it from a content point of view? I would say the one drawback was, or the big achievement would be for the students to actually build the relationships. With this project, it was so, there was so much work required that the connection between students was a little hard to facilitate. So we actually divvied up the work, and one individual worked on 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So we weren't part of the previous speaking one. But even with the projects we think about it, a big initiative is to get people connected. Like, how do we get them working together in teams, almost force them to work together to achieve an end? But to keep it, absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I would second. I loved it. I think I asked what's the main goal of Global Connects, because each and all of our individual schools were doing teaching. We already done a preaching session with our teaching, or we've done a history of Christianity with our teaching. So some of that was a refresher. So to me, the main goal of doing it in a Global Connect forum type of way is the relationships. And so I think the amount of work, I would second that. And the other piece I would say is, for all of us that do have pretty intensive already academic teaching schedules, it became a lot. Like during COVID, it was almost possible in the fall because there wasn't much going on. But I would love some kind of like, hey, I can join the sessions, and there's a way I can connect with a group and then have like two options of how much workload. Like if a school wants that to be their main teaching curriculum for the fall or the spring, then they could do Global Connect. But if we have another, like if we have another intensive program, then okay, there's a way I don't have to do all the work, but I can still get the relational piece of it. I'd love to see that personally, because to me, the power in Global Connect is the relational. I mean, I'll take it on my back. I brought my hoodie from Mexico. You know what I mean? From like different things like that. Like that's the powers of relationships and that kind of stuff.
That's
so,
right.
You know.
Quick logistics. Yannick, can you guys follow the discussion online?
Yes, yes, we can. It's usually good. I think when Jacques was speaking, he might be in the back of the room. It was a little bit not very loud.
Yannick, do me a favor. If it doesn't come through, just text or raise your hand. Joseph sees you and he can let me know. We can repeat the question or we can repeat the comment.
Okay,
and
great.
Joseph will tell me if you guys if there's somebody online who wants to comment. So we'll make it work. But please participate and let us know.
Okay.
Maybe we should speak up here so that people online can hear it well. Tom.
Yeah, I love Global Connect for many reasons. The student connection, absolutely. But it was good for me. I was in every session. I don't think I missed, a single one. And it was maybe the oldest guy in the room, but it was great for me. It helped me. It helped fan the flame on it, reminded me of things. And I think one of the great things about Global Connect, not only the students being connected, but through virtually to be able to have such great teachers from around the world come in. I don't get to sit at their feet, that often. So that was very helpful, for me. Some discussion about how the different schools integrate Global Connect into their overall program. That would be really helpful. Like I was curious, even here in Boston, how you do that, because most of us work our interns and our students pretty hard, and they're really, in certain times of year, particularly, they're really are pushing hard. And then we have our own program, like Jordan said, and then we have Global Connect. We're trying to prioritize those things and still have a quiet time. And some people want a Sabbath during the week, too. So it's like, it's a good bit to juggle, in there. So that discussion would be helpful.
Yeah. I'm not in the screen.
Yeah.
Should I turn it a bit?
No. Like where you were standing, they couldn't see you. That was all.
Okay. All right. But if they can hear me, I think it's okay. If I can be heard, it's okay.
But it's better not to be seen, really, right? Just hurt.
Yes. the Global Connect piece, the first session was what we call in Boston or in the New England School of Missions, public presence. The next class is academics. I think it's a bit easier to fit a public presence session into the curriculum than an academic session. So we should come back to that question. I don't know if you want to comment on what we plan to do in the New England School of Missions with Global Connect coming up.
Sure. Yeah. So this will be our first Global Connect in person, in a sense, right? Because it's the last two have all been during COVID. Nestle's been totally online. Our normal Nestle schedule is every other Tuesday, Dollar Nestle is somewhere, but every other Tuesday, 10 to 4, 3 2-hour sessions. And so there's the academic, the public presence, and the daily ministry tracks from 10 to 4, and we work in lunch and that kind of thing. And so, so this time, everybody will come into one of our buildings, and at least this is the current plan. I'm sure we've actually talked about this, so everybody's doing it for the first time. But since it's academics, Kevin oversees the daily ministry. He'll teach 2 hours on a Tuesday on daily ministry. Cash and Doug oversee the public presence, which is typically a preaching class. They'll oversee that. And then Valder and I typically do the academics, and that part will be Global Connect. And as it turns out, it'll feature Valder. And so, we'll just need to make sure that the students, mute their computers and, kind of have, and so they'll do Global Connect in a setting not unlike this, tables and chairs set up in one of our larger rooms in the building. And so at least that's what I think. I think we'll be able to do it technically that way. But that's how we do it. And then they've got homework after that, but everybody kind of comes on in for those 6 hours every other Tuesday.
And what we are, Douglas, all I just want to say, what we decided to do is to replace our regularly scheduled class. We replace it, we don't add it. It happens to be New Testament interpretation, so we'll use the Global Connect class and we'll just replace it. It's not from a ideal curriculum, it's not ideal, it's not exactly, but the value is just there. So we are not adding it. We talked about just adding it, but it's too much. It will be too much. We can't do that. We'll just replace. And you should think about that. Just replacing your regularly scheduled academics class.
I want to say it was an experiment. I think it went extremely well. It is disruptive, and it's the only thing we've done where all of the schools participated in the exact same thing. And so clearly now that we've done 2 semesters and it's been effective, we've got to get organized beyond the next 4 weeks. And so I think that's great. And part of our discussions about curriculum and all of those things will include which things we're going to do. I'm excited about the fall, the next semester, because it's going to talk about unity, maintaining unity from a biblical point of view, sort of locally, regionally, and globally. And I can't think of anything more important to teach young people than let's think about how we stay united as we go forward. I do think that the projects it's a trick to figure out the projects. I was interested to hear that the African projects were one person focused on each segment. I understand that wasn't the thought at the beginning. We were thinking a team in the same way that they work together in their speeches in the first session. But we will give thought to make sure that the projects are collaborative, it's not too intensive, and that we get the relational time that we need. I think there's a ton more exciting things we'll talk about continuing to build the connections globally. That's what we do. But we understand now that we've had this good idea, but it's got some awkwardness to it. And for some schools, even our level of expectation for how much time should someone spend studying for the School of Missions in a week, we don't have a uniform opinion about that. And I think we want to move in a direction where we're more united about that. But that's our progress. That's what we're doing.
Just, when I said disruptive, I meant in the best spirit of.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely came through.
All about
nurturing way. It was a very nurturing comment.
So we have a couple comments from the Zoomers, and one was asking if you could comment. I'm not sure, is the audio set up that someone could be unmuted and
I think so. I
Okay.
think, give it a shot. Let's try.
So
Let's see if it works.
I'll read off what Roland and Dinesh had to say, and then Alexander Solovev is going to comment from the Russian perspective on Global Connect. So Roland just said we should continue to explore various formats for the joint classes, synchronous versus asynchronous. And Dinesh and Caroline were saying we're so glad to be part of this. For us personally, it was super inspiring to see how the number of schools has grown to 12 and the vision for its growth to 20, and see what God has done in less than 10 years. We appreciate the defining of various partnership and connections, the BMF with mission societies and the schools of mission. We think the chance of a lifetime opportunity is super inspiring for the trainees to be part of. And we're hoping if something similar can be done outside of the US for non-US participants, especially with the visa challenges. So I don't know if you wanted to comment on that, and then Alexander can share about Global Connect from Russia.
How about Douglas commenting on the chance of a lifetime comment about international?
Okay, another idea that we had that seems to have taken off is chance of a lifetime. This year, because of the pandemic, we went with US only, although we've had many international applicants in a few days. Okay, so there's a real appetite. Clearly next year, we want to have some international participation here. Now, it brings up another question is should we have some other location or work on a similar thing that perhaps was in Asia or Africa or something else? That's really interesting, but I have never thought of that. So we should discuss that. I do think they have to be very international in order to accomplish the goal, the secondary goal. The primary goal was to lift people's vision and give someone a path to see, how do I get involved? What's the path to global connection or global mission? But I think the secondary benefit is the ligaments that are being formed. And so we should consider how to accomplish that, even if we spread it in more than one place.
And that's another experimental project, right? But maybe we come back to the Global Connect class, to the online
Sure.
classes. You had another.
Yes, from Alexander Solovev. Alexander, are you, or you might go by Sasha, are you ready to comment? Are you unmuted? I can't unmute you personally. Okay, great.
I'm
thanks.
here. Thank you very much. Hello, brothers. It's really cool to be here. I'm so grateful. And I wanted to say, first of all, that Global Connect has been great so far. We've been really enjoying this. We have at least six students in St. Petersburg and maybe more than 10 in Moscow. I'm not sure the exact number. My name is Alexander. I'm the co-director for the Moscow school, Sasha Bazashvili, who shared good news on the first day. He is the director for the Moscow school. He'll be here shortly, I hope. So I just wanted to share about how it goes with the Global Connect. And I have to say that the 2 semesters, they've really been different from each other because of what the purposes were. The first one was on public speaking, and it was really good. It went well. It really impacted, I think, all of the people, because public speaking is very important for everybody, and it was really helpful. But this, even for myself, really, I've been using a lot of these things that we've discussed. So, but the second semester, when we were faced with a task to put up a paper together, and the whole purpose, as far as I could tell, was for people to join together and establish connections across the globe. But what we realized is that for Russians, the language barrier is real. We only have like 5 or maybe 6 people who actually speak or understand English at the level of being able to understand and really benefit from what is being said. So what we I tried to put them all together, but what we came up with was just to put all the Russians in a separate group, just for the paper to be done. Because otherwise, if they were in different groups, then they wouldn't be able to communicate. They would have to have a translator in each of the groups, and we don't have really like a simultaneous trained translator or certified person. We only have like myself and another brother who can translate. So I think for some topics will be helpful, but it's for the Russians. And I have a couple of suggestions on what we could do, but it's probably on our part. I'm thinking maybe we should like it's also a matter of recruiting students. So my consideration is that maybe we can only take students for the Global Connect, those who actually can speak English or understand what is being said. Otherwise, maybe they cannot be the students, or they will need translation. So that's a thing that we probably need to discuss. So some topics or some of the things that we'll be trying to do in order to connect with people will be effective. Some will not because of the language barrier.
Yeah,
That's
that
what I
makes
wanted to say.
sense. That's probably the approach right now, to just say it's English speaking and we are patient with second language, but no English. Translation is probably hard to do, especially we are pretty late in the game for the next class. I don't know, Kevin, if you have the dates, but the first class is sometime early in September, right?
Yeah.
So
we have
we are really scrambling to put this together, right? Douglas and then Arturo.
Well, I think it brings up a question that personally I have conviction about, and that is for many of our students, if we could teach them English as a second language, or if they can't come to the Global Connect, they could go to an English as a second language class until they get to that level. Because as an American, I hate to emphasize English, but it is the global conversation. It's the nature of things. It's the only way to stay connected to all of the brothers and sisters. And it feels like at a younger age to give them that opportunity, that will actually be a tool that would benefit them, and perhaps even benefit them if they did not continue in the ministry. It's a good tool anyway, but it's definitely a good tool in our fellowship for people to feel engaged and connected. But I think that's discussions that we should have, individually. I don't want to impose that, but it feels to me that it's a benefit if the young leaders would learn to speak English, just so that they can communicate with one another and benefit from the fellowship.
Yeah, Arturo.
Yeah, we have the same problem as in Russia. From all of our students, only about 2 or 3 understood well. So what I did, I created a WhatsApp group because I write really fast. I was translating in the WhatsApp application in the computer. And they were reading the WhatsApp chat, everything in Spanish. So we have been doing that all the courses.
Okay, all right.
Thank you so much to understand English and write fast.
Okay, Arturo is creative. Arturo is very creative. I think it's great. Okay. Is there anybody else online? Kevin, you had raised your hand.
My question this might be not the great question here, but are we saying that we're going to bump the New England academic class to do the Global Connect piece this coming?
Yes.
And what will that class be and who will be teaching it?
So that's a good segue to what I want to bring up for this group as well. As Doug said, we want to make the class a unity class. The way this discussion was coming together, some of you were involved, many of you were involved in a call a few months ago, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, when the question was, should we talk about Bible and gender? Should we talk about women in the Bible? Is that not a good topic for the Global Connect? And then after many discussions, we decided, no, let's not do that, but let's do in the fall a class about unity and use the example of doctrinal debates as one of the examples or one of the calls, but make it a unity class. And I got the assignment to do that. And in general, I'm a big believer in community teaching and community theology, which means the teachers get together and talk about what we teach. I would like to do that here too. The challenge is timing now. We are right. I mean, personally, I have worked on it, and I have a sense for where we go. But at this moment, I will teach it, and it will be a directed teaching. However, that being said, if any of you has worked on this topic, if any of you teachers has worked on a topic of unity, of as Doug described it, beginning on the local church, but then unity between the churches, unity that right. I would more than welcome input, and if you feel you want to contribute to that, just connect with me after this. We have less than a month to get this together, right? And so we are far into it. But the idea is that the academic piece in the New England School of Missions would be replaced with the unity teaching Global Connect. And it would be the same. It would be, I don't know, 7 or 8 sessions, however many sessions we have, with homework and with a simple pass-fail system. We just do pass-fail in the academic session at NESM, right? So it would be, we would modify what we would have done normally in the academic session. Are there any thoughts about the content? Any, yeah, Mike?
You didn't say this just now, but you said it in the past. My impression is, and why we were thinking about it for academics in NESM, there's 2 reasons. One is you're doing it, and then the other is that it wasn't unity based on Bible approach to Bible interpretation.
Correct. It was around unity around Bible interpretation. How can we maintain unity around Bible interpretation issues, right? We have at this moment, we have no forum in our fellowship where we would get together and say, so how do we wrestle with issues where we may have divisions about what the Bible teaches? And the lesson is not about what should you think or what do we teach about Bible and gender, but the question is, how do you go about what is sound doctrine? I think there needs to be one class at what is sound doctrine, what do we think, and then how do we go about when we are not in agreement on what is sound doctrine, right? And it's a tricky class. It's not a simple class. I don't know if you had a chance. Right. Chris. Okay.
Yes, I want to have a clear understanding because Gilbert on the line is about Emmanuel is not able to be he's sick in the hospital. He's our academic director.
Right. He's sick?
Yeah, he's not feeling well. So, but Gilbert is here. He's a teacher, one of our teachers, Gilbert Kimen. And we want to understand this next Global Connect class on unity.
Yes.
Can you speak up, Chris, please?
Yes, okay.
Thanks.
But let me begin by saying that it has been very helpful for us. The Global Connect has been an exciting component for us. Is I can describe how it has really excited our group to be a part on every front. And so we are looking to see how we can put this in our curriculum, because like I said, we are planning, we plan like 1 year ahead. We're coming to, we'll turn up something from that to the end of the year. So we want to see how this, how it changes like what you've suggested, for us to be able to not overload the students, because I do know that that's very real, because the academics is very heavy for some of them, trying to read all the books and trying to do all the assignments and all the reflection papers. And then gets to the practical aspect as well. So my question is there a way, Valdo, that you can help have a global connect with the academic directors?
Yeah, so you mean specifically for this class?
For this class on unity, because it does bring about unity being discussed for us in our own context.
And that's, that would be my next question. Again, you know, we are sitting here, it's August, what is it, August 9th? And we have about a month to put this together. If there's interest in this group to shape the class, it's not too late for that, but we have to hustle. We would have to have a meeting this week, later this week. If there's enough interest, I'll schedule a meeting, and anybody who is interested to contribute to this or let's do that. I can schedule a meeting on Thursday, Friday this week, something like that. And anybody who is interested, hop on and we'll talk it through. We don't have a lot of time to do real community theology. We just don't, right? That takes time. But what I would do is get input, tell you where I am with this, and get your input, and then shape it. And dish some work out. I mean, I'm not, I don't need to own this. I'm more than happy to get help. But I also realize everybody has a schedule, everybody has something going on. So is there interest in general? Yeah, Carol.
I would like to do from Europe, or maybe see if Mika would like to do it, because I know that's the topic that's really important, and he's not here right now. But
Yeah.
it would be great to have a discussion on this with.
Okay, there is no time for doctrinal discussions. There's only time, and the class will be shaped in such a way that people are not sitting there saying, what is he teaching? This is about unity. This is not about what does the Bible teach about women. And if you want to know what I think about that, or what we think about that, then you can go to the Boston website. But that's not what we are teaching. We're not teaching a repeat of Bible and gender. We're teaching, the goal is to teach unity and the issues of unity. I go back to our DNA. Alexander Campbell wanted to have unity in a fellowship, and he achieved the opposite. I'm a bit black and white with him. I hope he doesn't turn in his grave. But he definitely he was not. It was all about unity. He said, if we think all the same thing, if we read the Bible all the same way, we're going to be so united that we can actually make a bigger impact in the world. That was what Alexander Campbell at the end of the day wanted. And we as a restoration movement are one of the most fragmented Christian movements when it comes to doctrine, right? And that's our DNA, and we have to think that through, right? And it's complicated because we also live in a postmodern world where anything and everything goes, right?
Having done the last two Global Connects, I would really encourage the academic directors to engage. Even engage in one component. Maybe there's an area or a concept or a passage that you're very passionate about, because it really adds to the feel of the event when we're hearing, okay, now we're over to Nigeria to hear from Gilbert or Manuel, okay? Or now we're over to India and Shaijas is going to teach this little section. That really adds a lot.
Yeah.
And you too, Roland, you're awesome. So, because it's a little bit of a potentially tricky topic, don't let that put you off. Jump in and think together, and let's put together a truly global experience about unity. And I have some thoughts on projects that might be good, but I really want to encourage the academic directors to engage on this, because I think it'll be fun, it'll be inspiring, it'll be visionary. I mean, world missions and staying united, those are great concepts, and that's really what we're going to be talking about.
We have
somebody
a,
else-
a backlog of comments and questions from the online folks. So,
Let's work on the backlog.
So I'll try to. So Gilbert is saying on behalf of Emmanuel from Lagos that he's also interested in the topic of unity, and Alexander is saying our suggestion from Russia for a Global Connect topic for next semester would be apologetics. So it sounds like there is interest in having a conversation about what this might be like. I have what looks like a more logistical question from Raj Chandra. Are you saying that the Global Connect class on Unity next month will replace the local plans? For example, we have scheduled class the weekend of September 17th and 18th here in South Africa, hosting in Pretoria. Sorry if I misunderstood. I don't know if you want to answer that quickly.
I can answer that quickly. That's at the end of the day, your decision. It's your decision if you want to replace it or not. It's your decision in your school if you want to participate. But we strongly encourage you to participate because it's one of these things. If only half of us will do it together, it loses its value, right? That's one of the reasons why we bring it up. If half of you say, no, we really don't want to do this, this doesn't work, then it's probably not a good idea to push it. If 90% say, yes, we want to do it, then I would encourage the remaining 10% to bite the bullet and do it, right? That's kind of the thinking. And it should be an honest conversation, right? And we really want to hear in this moment, we'll have a similar discussion probably later today, but we want to hear from the academic director's perspective, right? From you are building academic curricula in your School of Missions. What is your concern, or what is your opinion about this? That's really what we want to take away. Focus on that.
So we've got a couple more, but we're making headway.
Okay.
So Sam and Michelle Cameron, I believe you're coming from, yep, Australia. And they say a 6-month or yearly calendar with Global Connect sessions and topics would be helpful for us to integrate the global plans with our regional plans.
Totally. No, that's an excellent comment.
Highly disruptive.
And then, so this is from Gilbert. During a recent survey to evaluate the operations of NeoSom, it was obvious that these students generally appreciate the academic aspect of the school. Many of them wish the practical ministry arm of the school can be improved upon. Many desire more speaking and leadership opportunities and to be a part of the daily ministry. So 2 suggestions / questions. Can the 12 academic subjects be compressed to maybe 9 to create more space for practical ministry experiences? And the second, is there a train the trainers module?
Okay, so these are really 2 big questions. I would punt both questions to a later session today, because that's really a discussion for that's not just a question for the academic director. It's a really good question. I don't want to dismiss it, but I would punt that to later. I would defer.
He's an American now.
I think for a while. Yeah. But I have a question, but let's just cover all the comments. Yeah, Kevin and.
Yeah, no, I'm such a huge fan of the Schools of Mission. I find it incredibly inspiring that we're all coming together, and it's sort of a grassroots sort of thing that we're doing here, which is, creating something positive in the midst of the ICOC that is sort of not all together in certain ways. And so I'm all about it. And I'm so positive, the chance of a lifetime idea, we jumped right on that. We love that idea of getting buy-in and participation from the young. And so nothing I'm about to say is negative about the overall, and it is early. And I was up late writing my lesson, so and early as well. So all of that is clear, but no, I probably have some measure of concern about the topic of unity. I was one of the voices saying I do not think we should do Bible and gender in this forum. I thought it makes it. There was a teacher in the Boston church 15 years ago that I invited to do a class to the campus ministry when I was the campus minister. And he came in and he taught all these things to the students that we didn't believe as a Boston church about head coverings and all that kind of stuff.
It was not me.
It was not you. And, it was not you. And I remember going to this man afterwards and saying, why have you spoken to the elders about these things? Why would you go to the campus students first on this particular issue? And that seems like the wrong way about, this process that, that would, but that would be a little bit of my concern here is if we're trying to, unity is a great topic. It's also a controversial topic. And if we're pulling it together in 4 weeks, I just wonder, is that going to create buy-in? I mean, if you went to the ICOC teachers, not that we need their permission, this is something that only people that have decided to come to this are doing.
Correct.
Global Connect, and I understand that, but with the idea of what we envision it being, which is more and more,
Yes.
more and more,
Yes.
that's what I'm bought into. I just wonder if this will create the wrong flavor, depending, like if you went to the ICOC teachers to say, hey, we're teaching on this, would they all agree with what you're pulling together in 4 weeks? I'm not sure one way or the other. And so that's my only question. I wonder if a thing like training the trainers is a bit more of a, everybody's in agreement on that around the world, or at least people that are participating. So it's a little bit of a safer thing. Those are just the concerns that I would have about these kinds of topics so early in our process.
Yeah, and obviously, from a process point of view, you're coming late to the party.
What do you mean?
Well, we had this discussion. That being said, I'm totally open to say.
Who's the we that had the discussion?
The directors.
Oh.
The directors of the schools of missions together.
Oh, when was that?
That was early in the year when we talked about Bible and gender. That was
okay.
actually we had this discussion.
I understand.
That doesn't mean that your concern is not a valid concern. Arguably we should probably take a little bit more time. I'm told that this is a bit risky, but
because that would have been my only thought. I sit on the board for NESM, and I feel confident that most of the board of NESM does not know that this is part of a conversation.
That is
we're
true.
probably about to have with them
That is true.
about what's upcoming in 3
that
weeks.
is true, and the same problem is probably true for some of
Across
the
the board.
schools as well. I'm totally open to say let's punt it to next year. There was a sense of urgency about the topic. There was a sense of urgency of saying, hey, we got to do this now. This is on the minds of the students. This is right. And so that sense of urgency was there. And we said, okay, let's do it in a form. We punted it once. We can punt again, right? You can win games by just punting all the time. But I'm open. I just don't want us to now spend the rest of the meeting to debate that.
So I think on that call, when we were going around saying, hey, do we agree or disagree, the thumbs up, I think I was the first one to say no on the gender topic.
Right.
And however, I love the idea of the unity topic. The reason for that is because years ago with most of you, there was a common unity about what we believed and how we did it and why we did it. And now our goal of these schools of missions is to raise up the next church leaders for our movement. And we don't know how we're supposed to stay united. So because we didn't all come from Gainesville or all go to Boston or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so there needs to be hey, we have agreed that, well, I'm not saying right now I can state it, but we've agreed this is the things we are all united on. And these are things maybe we're not, there needs to be some kind of, how are we united? I think it is wisdom and waiting to the spring would be my suggestion.
Say it again.
Waiting to the spring to do it.
Okay.
And I know it's late, all that kind of stuff. We're not discussing that now. I think there's wisdom because if we do believe the importance of us being united, having the conversation from the different teachers, I think it'd be worth it. That would be my suggestion. If I shifted back to your original question though, on this weekend, I missed the first 2 days because we had a conference I'll mention in our lesson. So, but I joined a couple of things virtually. What I would have loved to see, just as for the future, is hearing from different schools a complete breakdown of their school, like how you do it, what's the different way you set it up, why you do it that way, who are the moving pieces, what's your curriculum, how do you graduate, what's your graduation process, like I think a lot of us are still putting together our structure.
Yeah.
And hearing a complete breakdown, oh, it was so helpful.
Yeah.
And to pick up the best practices.
Yeah. I think that's good. That's good input. Just before we have an idea of landing this discussion, I do not plan to teach something that is going to be controversial.
Right.
I'm not planning to do that. If any of you had a chance to read Francis Chen's book on unity, what he does, he paints a picture of what the Bible teaches about unity. It's utterly convicting. It's excellent. It's well written. And then he goes and does a whole bunch of applications and what it means. And that's where the book gets, okay, I can agree, I cannot agree with that. I'm in the first column. And then maybe raising questions that I don't have answers for, or where I may have an opinion, but I'm not going to plan to do anything that would cause a stir, or where people would say, hey.
I don't think anyone has ever felt like you've ever done anything to cause a stir at any point, ever. No, and I'm not opposed to the idea. I was voicing a question. That was absurd. And I trust you,
No,
you know.
It is a good question, and I'm open to punt it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say we got to do this now, but I really do not want to teach a class on unity that results in disunity.
You learned from Alexander Campbell what not to do.
I do not plan to do that. That being said, there is a value in us doing this more together than Valdo throwing it out and everybody says, okay, let's, right? But again, there's a timing question, and there's a question, should we do this more together?
Just very briefly, I think there's a way to hear what Kevin is saying and accommodate it and teach a class on unity. And I trust the academic directors to be able to thread that needle together. I think the ICOC paper, Bible and Gender, did a good job of addressing the scriptures without being overly definitive. A lot of people were frustrated by that. But nonetheless, I think we can do something like that that emphasizes the principles of unity without landing too hard on controversial things. I want to say to everybody, it is hard to pull all this stuff together and to work together with 12 schools on all time zones and get things going. And we did discuss this 6 months ago, and we did make the decision that this is the way we would go. So I think we would need something really compelling to say, let's abort that and let's go in a completely different direction, because I think there's a way to meet the need, build the concept of unity, not be too controversial, and still inspire everybody. And I would prefer to say, let's go forward with that, and let's just have that thought in the back of our mind, and let's work on it together as a group. And as one who develops things on the fly, I think there are some ways to put this together in a way that provides time for community engagement and is still ready to start September 14th. So I think there's a way to do both. And I agree with what Kevin's saying. And I know you agree so strongly with let's not be a lightning rod in the BMF for drama. We don't want that, and we don't want it to be that way. But I do think it's a big need, and it could be beneficial. It just has to be done thoughtfully.
And right, there is also a question of the role of the BMF and the role of these schools of missions. We are not trying to say we are going to speak for the fellowship, or we are going to change the fellowship, or this is really an effort of building schools of missions within the scope of our responsibility and the scope of our influence, right? So, but I think this is the topic that we should be discussing, and I would like that we do make decisions like this from an academic side together, that we say together from an academic side, from an academic curriculum side, this fits our schedule, or maybe here we need to make adjustments. This is really a question for the academic director side. Do
So
we
yeah,
have a
there-
backlog again?
We do have another backlog and it's
Hold your thought, Mike.
specifically on this planning the
Okay,
the
all
fall. So Gilbert is saying in Legos classes have already been scheduled for church history and biblical interpretation for the rest of the year in Legos. Changing plans now personally seems short notice because students are already reading and class is about to start. And then Shijus is, I think, echoing some other comments. I think it would be helpful to have a class on unity. This may include how to take a stand on doctrinal matters, also training our next generation leaders how to forge unity, how to handle people when they disagree with leadership, etc. Could be addressed. And it may include how to be united even when churches are becoming autonomous locally or as regions. And then Andoreni Flores saying hi in my personal opinion, unity comes in doing things together. You can teach about it, but it's better when you show it live with examples. And then I think the last, and this is Roland, comment on Doug's comment, but I think this was 3 or 4 comments of Doug's ago. Amen. I love.
I'm insulted by Joseph or Roland.
I love, by me, I love the idea of the mission schools demonstrating unity with diversity as a global fellowship. And this is a comment for Valder. So true, Valder. We need to explore even briefly the history of the churches of Christ, learn from our common history. I'm guessing that was in reference to what you said about Alexander Campbell.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's good input. Mike.
Yeah, I was just gonna say on the topic of the class on unity, there's kind of 2 separate things. There's what we disagree about and then what to do when we disagree. And I think what we disagree about is controversial. What to do when we disagree is biblical. And it shouldn't be controversial.
Correct.
And I think that we are living in a very unique time where the world doesn't know how to disagree.
Yeah.
But it's chock full of issues over which to disagree about.
Yes.
And that is seeping into the church.
Yes.
And so we have particularly, I want to say young people, but I don't even know if we can just, put it on young people. I think we just have people in general who don't know what do we do when we disagree.
Yeah.
And so I would think the need of the hour to have a class to disseminate those principles would be very timely and needed and even urgent.
Yeah, thank you. Here is what I think what I propose we do. This is really helpful feedback. This is really good input. I propose we go ahead doing the class. I'll do a call later this week for any of the academic directors who is interested in having a conversation about the content of the class. And it will not be controversial in the sense of causing issues in your church. I think if you teach about biblical unity, you will be challenged by that. We all will be challenged very much by that. And I'm not saying we will not have a class that will challenge our thinking, but I think what Michael is talking about is exactly where the class needs to go, right? What do we do when we disagree? And how important is unity to God? How important is, one class, John 17. I think, I don't know if the homework is memorizing John 17 as the prayer of Jesus, right? A very foundational class for very foundational convictions about unity. And then, again, this is work in progress. If it doesn't fit your schedule, maybe you wanna not participate. But I would really want to hear from all of you what you feel. And it's not helpful if we have 75% be reluctant in this. I also want to say one other thing. We are very US centric in the way we are organized, the way we are thinking, the way we are speaking. those of you outside the US, those of you who have schools outside the US, you need to be very strong with what fits you. We we export many things, the US, and many things are good that we export, but we also export our problems and our way of thinking. And if we create, if we bring up issues, if we want to teach lessons and stuff like that that don't fit your environment, please speak up. Please let us know that. That's part of us being a global fellowship, right? That's why I really think if you feel this doesn't fit your schedule conceptually, we definitely want to hear that. Arturo.
Thank you. From the part of Mexico, the main evangelists from all the country asked to all the Bible teachers in Mexico to explain to them the Bible and gender books. We are only 5 teachers in all the country, so it was not so difficult. So we were about 5 or 6 weeks with them in sessions, explaining chapter by chapter by chapter. At the end, they wanted like fast solution, but the document was useful to them for learning how to use those scriptures. And they were very happy with the work that was done in that book. So from our part, there is no problem if we go with this topic in the school, because the main leaders, they know that already.
Yeah.
So we started with them.
Yeah.
Instead of the contrary, because when we start with the students, they return to their local ministries with the Bible were at different extremes, and that's when the problem starts.
Yes.
So, but because if we start with the main leaders of that church or country, then the environment will be healthy.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. Chris, and then you should, Chris, both of you together.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment on your question and your comment about just for us in our context. I think it's very relevant unity to our context. But I think, in line with what Gilbert's concern is, and what I also feel too, I want to suggest that we can make the Global Connect session on unity with maybe practical discussion sessions instead of too much reading or homework that will take a lot of time. So if we modify that, it's not too heavy in terms of assignment, we could accommodate it with our already existing schedule. Because it will break my heart if we tell the students we can't do Global Connect this semester. They will not be happy. They enjoy that, but I think just for us to have it, it's not too heavy on them.
Okay. All right. No, that's good. That's good
Yeah,
feedback.
that's the angle I'm coming from, because from the way we have been organized, I appreciate Gilbert's concern. But the Global Connect is like a soft touch that the students, they are always looking forward to.
Yeah.
And so if we don't make it heavy, like my wife's saying, and make it interactive and make it fun to discuss. Apparently, even the trainers, we had the staff had a recent retreat, and it was on unity.
Yes.
So it's something we want to crystallize and begin to teach. So it's a welcome development that we have to do unity.
Yeah.
In addition to our plans of biblical studies and biblical interpretation and what we want to do. So
no, that's good. That's good input. That's very good input. Thank you. We are running out of time. We have to land the meeting. Last comment from you. Is that okay?
Seems to be lack of clarity as to what topic is going to cover, because you started off by talking about unity in interpreting scriptures, and I think it went on to. So I think if there's a little bit more clarity on what we want to cover about unity.
Yes.
Maybe it's just what does unity look like?
Yes.
Biblically, and also how to lead in a way as to build unity. That's more of the practical side. I think that would be very helpful.
Yes.
But the academic part seems to be started off with, which is, principles of scriptures. So that
I think that's the cause or the example cause for unity or disunity that we want to use, not solve the question of how do we agree on different Bible interpretations, but use that as an example as the example of divisions in our fellowship. But here is what I think we should do. We are running out of time, which is totally fine. We got maybe 10% through our agenda, which is totally fine. Expected. This is not only the most important topic we have on our plate as academic directors, but I also think it's a really good example of how we work together. I would propose this. I would propose we do a call for those of you who are interested in the topic itself later this week. I'll just do it by email. We don't need to do the logistics now. Thursday or Friday, probably let's do this. Send me an email if you are interested in being on a call, because the time zones will define the proposed times. So send me an email, any of you who wants to be part of a call that talks about the content of the Global Connect class for the fall. Send me an email. I'll schedule a call on Thursday or Friday that accommodates time zones. If it's everybody, which would be great, it will be at 8 o'clock. I'll go 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a global session. That seems a really good time.
I think it may be better just to decide on the time. Since it's such a short time.
Yeah, I mean, we can just do that. We can just say, let's do it on Thursday at 8 o'clock.
Because of travel, you want to push it to Friday.
Let's do it Friday at 8 o'clock. Let's do Friday 8 o'clock. For those of you who are interested, join the call. I'll send in a link and everything to all of you. So let's do that. Okay. Then the only other question I have is, it seems that it would be good for us to meet once a month. My proposal is that once a month we get together to talk about things like that. We're building these schools together, and it would really be good for us to get on a regular schedule where we just say every Monday morning at 8, every first Monday in the month, we meet for an hour or for 90 minutes and have an agenda and talk these type of things through. This discussion just showed there is a lot of opportunity for us to get on the same page. Are you guys in generally okay with it? I know it's hard to say no if you ask a question like this, but and nobody needs extra meetings. But is a monthly call together as academic directors, is that a good idea?
I would suggest if it could be worked into our already Global Connect time. And so if we met together and sent the students in the breakout rooms or something to discuss something, and then we had an hour together.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like if you
That's a
streamline
great
it like
idea.
that.
That's a good idea. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. No, that's great. Okay.
That might help. Schedule.
Yes.
That we're all clear about what's coming ahead. So that we can
Yes.
plan it into our.
Yes, the schedule, we'll send the schedule out. Kevin, we have it, right? Did you send it around already?
Our New England
Yeah,
schedule?
the proposed.
Hand it out this afternoon.
Okay, we'll do, okay, yeah, but.
I did send it to
You're
you.
good.
but
Okay,
He got it.
all right.
before.
All right, any other open things that we should,
Other
up to,
topic? Just to suggest,
anything?
maybe, I don't know if this will be time for all the time today. Two things about the curriculum. I understand that you want to create more schools internationally. Well, for example, for us in Mexico, it was very complicated to understand the curriculum.
Yeah.
Just by talking with some of you when you went to Mexico. So I needed to come here a complete day with the students, watch the teachers, interview the directors, and finally I understood what was this all about. But if you do something like the MTA program in the teacher's website, that you have all the core courses, the optional optative courses listed,
Yes,
and even the content or suggestions in the website,
yes,
that will be useful for the next schools.
yes,
That will be faster for them
yes,
to learn. So that's one of my suggestions.
yes,
And the other suggestion is about the concept of the hands-on training, the trainers for the students in
Yeah.
every school, asking to know if he can record a class specifically oriented for the disciples of the students in every school,
Yes,
so they may learn that they need to do their job. That's
Yes.
not our job to create ministers, so they need to work with them personally and work with them. And this is the problem that we have in Mexico. Some of them, because they pay a fee to the school, they expect that we deliver a finished product. So they don't understand that they need to do their part. So if Doug can do that, it would be great because they
Kevin
will
and
be
Chris
more
are gonna do
keen
that
than
in about an hour.
yes, no, that's a great idea, Arturo. That's excellent. Those type of suggestions we really want to hear, right? And this is all work in progress. We really want to build this together well. So we're out of time. Great time together. Want to have a break for you, 15 minutes, 10 minutes.
So we'll be back at 35.
At 35 here in this
20
room
past,
again.
15 minutes, we'll be back, but let's be back because Tom and Jordan are gonna talk to us in just a few minutes about the
Thank you.
succession plan.
Thank you. Appreciate it.